part of the evening is an example to give us examples of best practice that's taken part across the county. And each one of our best practice models has officially 60 seconds, but red lights and everything will start flashing after around 90. So if I can introduce the first best practice presentation, and it will be Jonathan Hines from Archetype.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jonathan Hines, Director of Archetype, one of the UK's leading sustainable architects and employing around 40 people. Our passion for sustainability is actually the force driving the economic success of our business, at times with what Vince Cable has been talking about. We're working on buildings all over the UK designed to use less energy, radically less energy. We're pioneering the introduction of passive house, which is the most rigorous energy standard in Europe, into the UK, and working on many passive house buildings, including the new Herefordshire Archive Centre. Frustrated with the lack of interest by developers in design quality or energy efficiency, we've now formed a new company called Arche House with a very different approach to housing development. We're proposing to establish a new factory on the enterprise zone to manufacture houses that will consume 80% less energy at a price that is competitive with standard developers, creating jobs and training for local people. As a model of localism, we'll work closely with local communities to create new sustainable living villages. Our vision is to transform the nature, quality and energy efficiency of housing, first in Herefordshire and then throughout the UK.
Next we have Neil Peplow from AllPay.
Hi there. AllPay is a specialist provider of public sector payments to the UK government. We employ over 200 staff at Whitestone Business Park, which is just 4 miles out of Hereford. We gained the ISO 14001 accreditation in March 2010. A combination of recycling, reducing waste, paper, reducing energy all contributed to us achieving this. But we try and go well beyond that. We have our own nature zone, which has 4 frogs, 12 types of beetle, a kingfisher and a very rare type of newt, which we call Dave. Our latest addition is a selection of apple trees, and that means our staff can look forward to fresh apples in their daily free fruit allowance. Our company car fleet is made up of hybrid Toyota Priuses, and we're now looking into the possibility of a wind turbine and a kitchen garden to produce our own vegetables for our staff restaurant.
Donna Richards from Amy, Herefordshire.
Hello, we've taken a slightly different take on this and written a poem. My name is Donna and I am one of the many who work for a company known simply as Amy. We create more than pretty daisy-covered verges, highways and roads. We also create crosses for badgers and toads. This year on fuel we aim to save £50,000 with our Miles Better campaign that is doing the rounds. The money we save will help fund and gain a healthy environment we're hoping to sustain. We've been planting trees in many of our schools. At one called Riverside, we used our diggers and tools. The pupils we asked think it's really cool and mint that we are doing all of this to reduce our carbon footprint. So I hope you agree that Amy's workforce boots have given Hereford City well-grounded roots, dedicated delivery and support to the community. I would like to thank you for listening to me.
Vanessa from ABC, follow that.
Good evening everybody, Vanessa from ABC. I'm afraid it's not in rhyme, but I just wanted to say some basic facts about what ABC are trying to do. Print is not the most sustainably friendly industry to be in, but we're trying our hardest. We're trying to improve our environmental credentials every year. The FSC accreditation has given us terrific advantage over many different companies locally. Despite being the largest printer, we were a very hidden gem of Herefordshire. But now, thanks to the FSC accreditation, we're being used by more and more people wanting to have their prints sustainably produced, also by using vegetable-based inks. The choice of presses we've employed and used over the last few years have yielded savings of paper, electricity and water, by using the latest technology. We refill, recycle and save energy throughout our working practices. And just to sign off, we find it as simple as our name, ABC. Thank you very much.
Paul Young, Hereford College of Technology.
Good evening, I'm Paul Younger, and tonight I'm representing Herefordshire College of Technology. We recently completed a 100-seat cafe on our home-based campus. This was conceived as a learning aid in low-impact, sustainable design. The Straw Bale Cafe was designed to complement our curriculum and to demonstrate to students and employers what is possible with low-cost, eco-friendly construction. The building minimises embodied energy and energy in use through the use of local natural materials, high levels of insulation, on-site energy generation, natural ventilation and daylighting. The building is designed to be dismantled at the end of its 15 or 20-year life and all components reused and or recycled by the college. College staff and students assisted with many hands-on aspects of the building process, including the assembly of the structural timber frame and the planting of the green wall. The college also grew and harvested the organic plants, timber and straw used for the build. A permanent educational wall graphic displays the environmental story of the building to all its users, and students can monitor its energy usage via a web portal. You can also find out a bit more about the project in this month's Eco Building magazine, which you can download online. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Neil Kerr, wearing which hat?
Several.
Several hats.
Good evening, everybody. I stand before you, I think, as the responsible face of business. I say that all in humility, and I'll try and prove that. Micro project first, then a macro project, so I've got a minute on each. The micro project is, about 4 years ago, I very rashly decided that I'd try and save our local pub. I live very close to Kilpeck, and we had a dead pub in a very historic village, beautiful church, Norman Castle, etc. Black tooth of the face, terrible. So with community support, very important, I embarked on rebuilding it, extending it with bedrooms, building a nice restaurant, quality kitchen, all the things you do. I used to run a very big pub chain, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but things have moved on, and I didn't do the work myself in those days, and by Joe, it was a project. But we thought we'd do something rather special and literally try and create the most energy efficient pub in Britain, because we had the opportunity with much of the building being new build. So we built in right from the start very, very high insulation standards. That's obviously the first thing that's been mentioned tonight we do. Then we built in rainwater recovery. There's an underground tank under the back garden which flushes the toilets, etc. We've got solar heating for hot water. Pubs use a lot of hot water. We've got a wood pellet boiler, a biomass boiler, which provides the heat for the underfloor heating. And we've used low energy lighting, sensors, etc. all through the place. So we try to cut consumption and then produce it very efficiently. 2 years on, that's very successful. It's due mainly to excellent staff and chef. We're a little bit in green tourism, but that's not really why people come. The great thing is we're enjoying the benefits of low energy usage. I can illustrate that best by our very first frosty morning when I walked in at 9 o'clock, and I couldn't understand why it was so warm in the pub, because there are no customers there and we hadn't got the heating on. And we finally worked out that the entire area, which is probably the floor area is the same as this, was being warmed by the waste heat from 3 under-counter fridges. So that in a sense shows the benefit of building all this in. So that's the micro project. Come and see us at Kilpeck Inn. The big project is, after that, I found myself volunteering once too often. I became the chair of the Hereford Business Board, and I sit in the Local Enterprise Partnership, which, as the Minister said, is the means by which government is starting to inject initiatives and some money into the local economies. And we won an enterprise then from Hereford City, which I'm sure you've heard about. I'm the vice chair of that, Ray is the chair. We're trying to do something very exceptional on this. I could spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes talking about it. This very day we've seen 4 architectural practices, because we have a design competition currently which is seeking to build a park with very high design standards, but critically to build in from scratch. We hope probably Europe's most energy efficient park. The cost premium for building very low energy usage in has never been lower, all these wonderful new materials, etc. So we're looking for architectural partners to help us create something really exceptional, which will give fantastic returns in the long term. Buildings typically have a life of about 50 years. If you imagine what's going to happen to energy costs over the next 50 years, they're only going to go up. So these are going to be a good business buy to come into these buildings as well as doing our bit for the planet. So we're trying to make a very powerful case behind the enterprise zone being rather special. Thank you.
I said it earlier, I think Herefordshire are very lucky to have two people with the quality of Neil and Ray Stone leading our business board and also the enterprise zone. And the power that they're putting on, the powers that be, are significant, and the whole project will be delivered in such a way because those people have got the confidence and ability to take on the people who sometimes say maybe not or no. I think that's a significant bonus for the county. And next, Gareth Scannell from Sanctuary.
Good evening. My name is Gareth Scannell. I'm here representing the Sanctuary Group this evening. The Sanctuary Group is the UK's leading housing and care providers. We manage over 80,000 properties throughout the UK, mainly in the general rented, shared and supported housing and key worker accommodation and care homes. We operate under a not-for-profit umbrella where we reinvest our surplus income into developing services, providing new homes and improving and maintaining our existing properties. We take the long-term approach rather than seeking to create short-term financial gain. This is why sustainability forms a core part to our business strategy. At Sanctuary, we work hard to ensure that our business does not impact negatively on the environment. Our environmental responsibilities are wide-ranging, covering our existing homes, our new developments, and the locations and where we operate. We aim to manage our impact on the environment in a way which produces real results, reducing fuel poverty, improving the energy efficiency of our homes, and creating value for money by using resources more efficiently. We secured silver status in the SHIFT Index, which is a sustainability benchmark for housing associations, and also hold the Carbon Trust standard for taking action to reduce our carbon footprint over the past 3 years. We're working hard to reduce our environmental impact even further because we believe it's the only way to ensure that our business remains sustainable in the future. Thank you for listening.
Peter Glasby of Herefordshire Futures Limited.
Good evening. Hereford Futures have been created to support and assist Herefordshire Council in delivering its strategic regeneration vision for predominantly the city but also the county which it lies at the heart of. To ensure that sustainability lies at the heart of everything that we do, we have a sustainability policy that recognises not only the physical aspects of redevelopment that you'd expect, but also social and economic constraints within that. We have 23 key areas within our policy, and we'd be delighted to discuss those with you afterwards. But we recognise that these constraints and the requirements for sustainability are stringent at the moment, but we hope and anticipate they will become more stringent so we can deliver the best and most sustainable development in Herefordshire, and our policy allows for that change over time. One of the key things that we have within our policy is a local supply chain agenda which we require developers to take on board, which helps to underpin the economic development within the county. Thank you.
Finally, Adrian Blackshaw from Herefordshire Council.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I wish I'd written a poem. I'm going to touch very briefly on 9 things. I'm going to move at great speed, so bear with me. We're in the middle of forming a National Skills Academy for construction status, which is a joint venture between the Council, the Construction Industry Training Board and Stanhope, aimed at construction projects throughout the county. We've got an ongoing big lottery application in partnership with the Woolman Foundation and New Leaf. We are in the last 30, one in 3 chances of succeeding, a £1 million grant for Communities Living Sustainable Fund. We've had a successful application for the Local Energy Assessment Fund from the Department of Energy and Climate Change. There's a joint application with New Leaf to develop the county's carbon reduction strategy, community renewable energy projects, and explore innovative building energy techniques. As part of the local authority's carbon management plan, there are 2 specific projects I'd like to just touch on. One is the fact that we've changed all the traffic lights and 30% of the street lights to LED, saving £3.3 million and 10,600 tonnes of CO2 in the life of the project. The second project is a new data centre for the council, which will save £160,000 and 860 tonnes of carbon per annum. There's a very exciting project in Leominster, some of you may already know, which is a community solar PV system based at the Leisure Centre at Halo Bridge Street, which is a joint venture partnership with Share Energy. And this is an exciting £150,000 fund raised from the community. And return on capital employed, of course, is the feed-in tariffs aimed at reducing carbon footprint in the county. Destination Hereford is a sustainable transport for Hereford, a successful just short of £5 million grant from the Department of Transport. And it's aimed at specifically at, one example, 10,000 trips coming into Hereford at less than 5 kilometres. Less than 5 kilometres. Schools. Herefordshire Council are working with the schools energy programme aimed at reducing consumption and cost with a joint venture with the Carbon Trust. There are 12 projects with 12 schools. If in aspirational terms every school signed up to this, we would save on an annual basis £560,000 and 2,800 tonnes of carbon emissions. Currently we're third in schools, school terms in eco-schools. We're developing sustainable procurement guidance as we move from, as the local authority and the public sector in the county, moves from service providers to commissioning organisation. This is on a backdrop of reduced government funding, raising energy and fuel prices, and climate change. All of this is aimed at a low carbon county status. I'll just end on one final thing, on food strategy. I'm delighted that in partnership with the CLA, the NFU, the Duchy of Cornwall, Harbour England Fine Foods, Rural Hub, the Council and the PCT, we've been the first county to produce a sustainable food and drink strategy for and local food consumption for the county. Thank you.
Before I introduce Jessie to sum up and say a few words, I'd just like to sum up what I thought happened there. I've got 2 words. It was either best great practice or great best practice. With 9 examples there of really good stuff that's happening in our county. I think we should give them all a little round of applause. Now ask Jessie Norman MP to come and say a few words, summing up.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's been a lot of summing up so far, so I'm going to keep that to an absolute minimum, and just say a couple of things. One is, if you could live anywhere, you would live in Herefordshire. That's always been an axiom of my view, and so our job is to make it possible to live a successful, happy life and build a business that makes you and your family and your shareholders good returns in a way that supports the environment and supports the county over the longer term. I think today's session has been very, very helpful. It's certainly helped me in the process of putting our county on the map in Westminster. I think that's been a very important part of it. I'm thrilled to have got and to have had Greenlinks get the Secretary of State here, and I'm delighted by the acuity of your questions, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank Mike Ashton on your behalf for being Quizmaster. Also, the exhibitors outside for supporting this event. But most of all, on your behalf, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Elaine Brooke and her team at Greenlinks, because they've done a phenomenal thing in bringing you all together and in putting this whole event in place. And I think they all deserve a massive round of applause from all of us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you, as I know you know, I'm a great believer in personal accountability, and with that in mind, I'm now going to the bar, and anyone who wants to ask me any question about any of the stuff they've heard today, or I hope any of the other folks who've been speaking should join me there, and then we can actually flesh some of these answers out in a little more detail than we've had a chance to do so far. So I'll see you at the bar. Thank you very much.
Can I again thank everybody who supported today's event, and particularly the people in the audience here who've given up their evening to come and look at what's going on with the Green Links project. By all means, please go and have a look at the stands that will be there for you to look at during the next hour or so, and please take advantage to network with people you know. Can I also thank the sustainable and energy-driven Elaine Brooks, and thank you very much for her effort in driving the whole event. Thank you, Jessie, for being with us again today, and I hope you all have a very good evening. Thank you very much.